everybody. Monica here, Monica Brant Show here at the American Fit Expo in Houston, Texas. Day 2, rounding it out. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I finally get an interview with this famous guy, Big J.
Thank you so much for having me on, number one. Number two, I've known you since before you started, and when you became famous, and when you brought everything to the game that you brought to the game, you created a new game for bodybuilding in the IPB, and a very, something that everybody wanted to follow. I think you're a famous person yourself. You're one of the most famous persons I've got to sit down and talk with. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. You really know how to make a girl, like, just shine.
I'm excited to be here.
You know, it's been really fun getting to visit with you. I know I don't know all about you and your accolades and how much you've done for the industry yourself. And I know you and Ronnie Coleman go back a long ways.
Long ways.
Yeah, best friends, training partners, and I'm sure there's, some of the stories you've shared with me are pretty funny about how you guys, harass each other.
Yeah, we're brothers.
The coins on the floor.
Yeah, we're like grumpy old men.
The stories. Oh my gosh, I bet that's been a whirlwind going through all of the
For sure.
years with Ronnie, and very cool. So it's been fun. So let's talk about kind of how you got started in bodybuilding. Were you an athlete in other sports first?
Obviously the high school, regular football, powerlifting. This was back, when Arnold was winning the Olympias, and I don't think Lee Haney had won yet. This was 81, 82, and Chris Dickerson.
Yep.
And Samir Benoit.
Yeah.
And of course Frank Zane. Those guys were what we looked at in the magazines.
Legends.
A long time ago, the golden era.
Right.
And so obviously not everybody could look like that. So it was always, and everybody looks like that now. Everybody has the secrets. So you understand.
Everyone's got the secret.
Yeah. What you have to eat better, and you have to take care of your body. Well, I was a farm boy, so I grew up hauling hay and plowing fields and feeding cattle, and I played football on the side, and then I was a mechanic in high school. Wasn't no time for any of the bodybuilding or the meal prep, is what kids are calling it now.
Right.
We just ate stew and drank milk and worked. Drank some cold beer on the side, But I think the older I got into high school and the more I became knowledgeable as a mechanic and starting to grow up and try to figure out what I wanted to do, I always did think, man, I would love to be stronger than everybody, and I was. In powerlifting in high school, I was kind of one of the strongest ones in my class. And then, of course, when I joined the military, I played a little football. When I joined the military, I ran into a lot of bodybuilders. And I'm just like, I must have been under a rock the whole time because you guys look phenomenal. So what's the secret? These guys told me, you had to not drink as much cold beer or cold milk, and everything was a lot different. So I started changing. I ran into a bunch of amazing people. One of my first famous people that I worked out with and was a real good friend with was, you may know this name, Vince Taylor, 5-time Masters. We're good friends. And so he was in Berlin when I was in Germany, and so we started kind of working out together and hanging out. Yeah, so I went from one Mr. Olympia to the next. George Ulrich was Mr. Germany. He had a gym. I was training there, and I was just like...
This is when you were in the military.
When I was in the military. How do I look like you guys? And more and more dieting and training, and all of a sudden I kind of started looking like I did work out. The strength was always there, and powerlifters look a little different than bodybuilders.
Right.
And I kind of wanted both. So I did, and I started getting pretty successful on both. Fast forward 10 years, get out of the military, start my own life, and actually, before I got out of the military, I'd come back from overseas, and I was visiting Metroflex Gym.
What year was this?
91.
1991, okay.
And I was training in the back, squatting a lot of weight, and before he was Mr. Olympia, over there, just arms bigger around than your head.
Yeah.
I didn't know him because I wasn't from that area. He just kept looking over at me like I was doing something wrong. And Branch Warren was there too, and I'm just like, what is he looking at? I don't know. And so he finally come over to me after I'd squatted 585 for a bunch of reps.
So he was watching you lift heavy.
Yeah, I was like 185 or 190 myself, and he goes, hey man, how come you squat so much weight but got little bitty ass legs? and I started laughing. I said, how come you're just so big? What are you doing? So he said, we're going to change your body. And so it made me take off all the weight, start doing 20 reps with 315, and I'd never done 20 reps with anything in my entire life. And that changed my physique forever. I mean, powerlifting reps, 3 to 6 maybe, to conditioning reps, 8 to 12, to, you lift heavy and a lot of reps, you're going to change your body forever. I went from 27-inch, 26-inch legs to 30-inch legs overnight.
Wow.
And I gained tons of weight. And, in the military, they only give you 3 squares, and they're only a couple hundred calories a piece. He said, you got to change that. You got to eat.
Right.
And so from then on, it was on my Donkey Kong. I went from being 180 pounds to 300 pounds in 2 years because I started eating right, not right, just everything under the sun, as well as training correctly. And
drinking less beer.
Well, I don't know if I drank less beer. I was a bigger person, so I could handle that much. Instead of getting fat, I was burning it off. Sort of. Don't do this at home, kids.
No. Don't listen to Uncle Big J.
That's right. That's right. But, it just really made a difference in my life being around someone so positive, someone that had a freaky physique, and someone that was just the most, I'll say that to this day, the nicest, humblest, biggest-hearted, knowledgeable, loving person in the world. I get a tear in my eye. Think about it. Ronnie Coleman's my best friend and the greatest person in the world. That's all there is to it.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
and I agree. When we've talked about Ronnie, and Ronnie has been just a good friend to me too. Like, I don't know him like you do, but I've worked with him for many times, many years, and many locations, and always, anytime I've seen him, messaged him. Doesn't matter what it is, what I needed. There's been times I've just been like, I meet someone that's a huge fan of Ronnie Coleman, I can message him and like, hey, can you send me a quick video or message and with this name and say hi to this person?
And he'll do it immediately. He'll stop what he's doing to do something for somebody.
Yeah,
that's who he is.
I mean, because that's kind of how I am too. And if someone asks me for something simple like that, like I want to do that, right?
You want to be that bigger person because you think, I'm kind of busy right now. But then you think that's what I should do.
It's the right thing to do, and it's not like every day that it's like. But here we got these stupid flies around here.
Yeah. Houston.
Okay, so you've done a lot of different things, and I know bodybuilding is a passion, and of course you had your intensity company that you sold,
and my gym. And,
so all of that came after military, I take.
Yeah. So
military.
I opened up a gym right after I got out of the military. I always wanted to be a cop, so I went to police academy, did a lot of work.
Were you a cop up there when Ronnie was in the same location? Or?
No, so Ronnie was in Arlington, and I was in Reddit, Waxahachie area. So I went to the academy. Things didn't work out really good for me because of, I don't know, maybe too much cold beer.
Too much cold beer.
Too much cold beer. So I went
Hear that, kids?
I went into a different field, private contracting. I worked for some companies overseas, and then, did a whole lot of work with the Marshall Division. And so that's where my life turned, as well as going, I really still want to have a gym because Vince Taylor, and George Ulrich and all these other people that were amazing bodybuilders, they owned a gym. So
it seemed like the right
thing to do. So I opened up a gym, Big J's Extreme Fitness. And I had that up until about 4 years ago, till after I retired from, government services. That gym was like Metroflex Gym. Stupid story, and I want to tell this. Everybody needs to know this. I've never told this before.
Opened up Big J's. I've
never told this before.
I opened up Big J's. Special here.
New one. I opened up Big J's Extreme Fitness in a shopping center. Okay, I've always worked out in very hardcore environments, and Metroflex Gym in Arlington, 91. This is 93 or 4-ish when I opened up my gym. Signed a contract with a shopping center. We're deadlifting 600, 700, 800 pounds, yelling, screaming, AC/DC at the highest decibel possible without breaking the speakers. And there's like a nail salon beside me and a laundromat, and then a movie rental places, what we call Blockbusters.
Blockbuster, yeah.
And they called the cops on me like every other day. Well, Brant was coming down to work out there. Ronnie was coming down to work out there. Brian Dodson was coming down to work out there. Jay was coming down to work there. And we just kept complaining on. I wrote it out for a few years, and I finally thought, I need to stop. It's just, I'm getting harassed. So I asked Brian of Metroflex Gym, owner, the reason why Ronnie is who he is, Brant who he is. I said, Brant, do you need a worker? I'm tired of being at, this warehouse. He goes, is it your gym? I said, yeah, BJ Extreme Fitness. Do you own the equipment? I said, yeah. He goes, why don't you move?
Why don't you move?
Yeah, I said, that's a good idea. Thanks, Brian. That's just the stupidest moment I had in my life. So I just packed everything up and moved to a warehouse, and I carried out my Metroflex gym environment dreams for the rest of my career as a gym owner. In turn, working out and training with, competing with these guys. And again, all this is a side gig. You know, I'm in real estate, property management, construction. That's where my money comes from. But I love training. And I was never the guy that wanted to be Mr. Olympia. Never cared for that. I wanted to support Ronnie in his venture and being the best and the greatest, and Brant and all those guys. Could I have done that? I don't know. And people say, oh, well, if I would have. There was never if I would have. I didn't want to. You know what I'm saying? When people go, well, I could have benched 500 pounds. Why didn't you?
Right.
You could have. I don't want to say I could have been Mr. Olympia because I never wanted to. Ronnie was my best friend. Brant was a great friend of mine. All these people that were doing good, I was as big and as strong as them, and I enjoyed the ride with them.
Yeah.
I didn't want to dedicate any more time to it than I was because it was fun to get away.
That part wasn't your passion, yeah.
And I did great at it.
Yeah.
I did really good for somebody that didn't care about it. And I do care about bodybuilding and powerlifting. I still powerlift. I still break world records. I squatted 850 the other day.
What?
Yeah, I put 1150 off blocks the other day. You know, I'm still benching 500. But because I love it. It's not what I do for competition.
And I got to train with you last Friday.
We trained the other day, and you pulled a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That was a lot of weight.
Special spot.
Yeah, you better put that clip in there somewhere. You pulling 5 or 6 wheels at Alpha Land? Wow, shout out to the strong one there.
A little bit of help.
But that's my story, you know, and I still, here's my thing. The reason why I torture my body, the reason why I train so hard, the reason why I can still do it is because I make that decision every day. Not that I have to do it, because I'm gifted, I'm blessed. It's something that I love to do. It's not because I'm trying to win a trophy or earn some kind of accolades. I've already been there, done that. I just still like doing it. Doesn't have anything to do with anything I do in life, except for this. This is what this part of my life is about, and I love every bit of it.
Wow, that's awesome. And I take it that's why we're here. You're here with Frontline Alternative.
Another quick part of that is because I'm with Frontline Alternative very recently. I've been friends with him for 3 or 4 years. Band Bell, MB Slingshot, I can mention several companies that have prolonged my life in lifting because I've always been a 6, 7, 800 pound squatter, 6, 7, 800 pound deadlifter, 4, 500 pound bencher. Last 5, 6, 7 years of my life, I'm starting to fall off. I'm starting to get weaker. You know, I'm 60 years old. So when that starts approaching, I'm just like, well, God, is this it? It was fast, but I'm happy and appreciative with these guys that created all the oscillation bars and the, you know, testosterone replacement and these sleeves that help preserve your joints and tendons. They reach out to me. Thank God for these guys. And they're like, hey, Jay, we can help you. We know you still got a lot of horsepower left. You look like you're 40. Let's keep you there. I don't know, dude. I don't think it's going to work. I promise it will. Give it a chance. I started doing oscillation training, which is where you train your joints and tendons and ligaments to get stronger.
Right.
When you tear a muscle, you don't tear the tricep, you tear the insertion.
Okay.
You tear a pec, you don't tear the chest, you tear it for where it's inserted.
Insertion, yeah.
So if those are stronger and rejuvenated with the oscillation and your hormones are in check and you're using precautionary warm-ups, you know, dynamic training,
right,
stretching, foam rolling, static, etc., then you're going to be a better athlete. And we are athletes. You more so than anybody can either flips and jumps and everything that you do. We just stand and pick up stuff and put it down. But that's athletic. Yeah, pick up everything. But, you know, again, bottom line, God, very thankful. But believe in that. I may not live like it, but I believe in it.
Good.
I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I'm very, the humility in my life has increased ever since I became a grandpa. And I'll tear in a butterfly now. I used to be a hardcore idiot. Now I'm just like the softest person you'd ever meet in your life. You were telling me a story last night and I teared up.
Yeah.
Just like, my allergies are kind of acting up. Let's move on. But it's humbling and it's wonderful to be able to have the opportunity to be able to do what you would like to do. There's so many unfortunate people that can't afford to put a piece of bread on the table.
Right.
And we're very fortunate to have the finances and the time and the effort and the drive and the resources to do what we do.
Right.
Be thankful forever, kids. Be thankful. You have to.
Right.
Or it'll be taken away in a heartbeat.
How do you feel about the new generation that's here with the bodybuilding and with all social media? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, what's a pro and what's a con?
No. Yeah.
So I will probably start sounding like my dad and my grandpa.
Right.
Our grandparents and our parents thought that we were, destroying the world, and now that I'm that age,
Like,
these kids are
the world.
destroying the world. It's not that. It's just, it's different. I think the evolution of mankind has gotten so far advanced, it's passed me by. The only reason I started doing the social media was because it was a necessary evil. And you have to compartmentalize and select those things that are not necessary in your life. I play a game with myself every day. I look at how much screen time I had, and I try to beat it every day by having less screen time.
Oh, okay.
Because if I'm on my phone more than an hour a day when I'm looking at social media, I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
I'll make my little muscle post, my little food post, my little car post, and then I'm done. I'm not going to sit there and scroll down a rabbit hole. I've done that. And guess what? I didn't get shit done that day. I need to be out in the field taking care of things, spending time with my family.
Because you still have a career outside of all of this bodybuilding stuff, right?
Of
Talk
course.
about concrete.
Yeah. Let's talk about concrete. I like my concrete like I like my drinks. Strong. Firm. Yeah, so, you have to not fall into the rut, because kids these days, they do make a lot of money by pointing the camera and talking.
Yeah.
But there's no social interaction, person to person. And I feel like
relationship building is not there.
I feel like it's not there, and I feel like we've lost that. Or they've lost that. I love to talk. I love to sit and look at somebody and talk to them face to face.
Me too.
And tell them,
Me too.
give them, when people say, we need your expert opinion or we want your knowledge, it's just experience. It's not an expert opinion. It's time and grade. I've been here for a while, so I know that I messed up doing this, but you may not. I'm just telling you that I messed up. And I hope that this information help you. It's just information. There's no experts out there. Even the experts get it wrong.
Right. Well, because different scenarios, different bodies, different.
Everything's
variables,
different.
so
Your sleep,
gotta
your
get up,
relationship, your food, your training. People say they're training, so hard, and it's kind of like, well, I did more than that on my 5 minutes of warm-up than you did in an hour. Not me, but that's possible.
Right.
And then you have some people out there that are trying so hard that they're burning up. They're losing their gains because they're working too hard. And there is a sense, because you're not getting enough rest, you're not getting enough hydration, you're not supplementing yourself properly, you're not fueling yourself. Just like a car, you're trying to drive to Colorado Springs and you put 1 gallon of gas in there. You're not going to make it past Dallas from Houston.
True.
So you got to put that fuel in there. And if you don't have enough oil or antifreeze or water or grease, that's your fuel. That's your food. That's your warm-ups. That's your time getting ready for that workout. You burn it up. You're going to bust a radiator hose and throw a rod and have a flat tire. That's your body if you don't put proper fuel and rest and recovery.
So I'm someone that feels like the physical and the spiritual both have to be built and maintained. So It sounds like you're in that line with, thanking the Lord and
Absolutely.
knowing that God's brought you a lot of. How do you keep I understand how you keep your physical fit. How do you keep your spiritual fit?
I wake up
Yourself spiritually
and thank God every single day I wake up and breathe. And every night I spend a couple minutes just in, I always feel like if you have to have a radio or a TV on, if you're by yourself, you got a problem.
Right.
Because you're not happy with what's going on in here.
Right.
And if there's too much going on there, you need to work on that. Not with a TV or on the phone or on social media.
Right.
That's the problem. You're letting too many external things come in instead of getting reverent with yourself and being thankful. I'm not trying to be a spiritual person and put the Bible down your throat, but that's the reason I'm here. That's what I believe.
Right.
You can believe what you want to believe.
Sure.
I'm not telling you that you need to turn to God, but I have. I feel
asked you
better.
I just want to know from you, because we all have our own way of.
My mom pushed it down my throat. Oh my
good to hear.
gosh, I couldn't stand it. She
Well, you're
pushed it down my
thankful
throat.
she's a good mom like that.
Well, she passed.
But she taught you some things, I'm sure, with that.
She taught me a lot of the negativity about it, and I learned how to approach people when they ask about it versus how to force it. Because I don't walk up to people on the street and go, well, you need to do some curls right now.
Right.
That's like somebody coming up and saying, hey, you need to dye your hair pink.
No.
And you need to call yourself a different name. You can call yourself a different name. I don't care. That's your life. That's your spirit. That's your eternity. Me, I'm again, I may not act 100% like I love God and like I believe in God. That's me sinning every day. But he's forgiven me for it.
We're all sinners.
Because I'm asking every day, and I'm thinking, thank God that I'm still here. My kids, everything is just, you got to be thankful and you got to be reverent. You got to turn the shit off, turn the TV off, put your phone down. Don't eat with your phone. When I have meetings with my employees, I think about it. Unless you're really, really busy, not social media wise, but email wise or business wise, we have meetings with, 30, 40, 50 employees. I tell them, first one pulls the phone out, buy it. I'm buying it until someone pulls the phone out. I never buy it. No, it's been years. Hey, man, I don't care if that's your wife, if that's the city hall. You give me 30 minutes of your time and I'll buy your dinner, which is usually a couple $1,000s. They pull the phone out. Sure, boss, I didn't make that much money this week. I'm sorry. Better work harder.
That's wonderful.
But do that with your family.
Yeah. Right.
Eat at the table.
Right.
Have breakfast together. I don't care if you leave at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't leave for every single day.
Just figure it out, right? Figure it out.
And if you get home early enough, maybe have dinner together.
Right.
Breakfast, on the grill on the back porch with your husband or wife or son or daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, spend time with your loved ones, because guess what? They won't be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
They won't.
This has been great advice. And when you came over here, you're like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, we're talking about you. We're going to just talk about, and I love it because, you're giving like really sound, awesome information and advice. And
why?
People got to hear that.
I've messed up all my life. And I've finally not figured it out, but I finally figured out where my peace is. And if you can't find your peace in yourself, you'll never be happy. You got to find peace in yourself.
Yes.
And it's not this mental health, self-care, whatever stupid shit people are talking about. Just go home and don't turn the TV on. Unplug the damn thing. Don't pay your cable anymore. But leave your phone in your car. My dad does. He doesn't even know where it is. That's why he doesn't call me back. You know why? He spends time with his wife. He spends time with his dog. He spends time in the garden.
In the moments. In the moments, yeah.
Because each breath could be our last.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
This has been great. Okay, we have to have so last night we got a special.
Oh, no. We're talking about God and we're talking about this.
It's all in. It's good.
It is good. It's really good. So,
you had a funny story from years past that you shared, and then we got to actually make it come true last night.
Right. And cut. No. Okay, so I don't know how many years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was Toronto Pro Show.
Okay. Maybe 15 years.
Yeah, something like that. 3 or 4 or 5 or 15. So I'm expressing my intensity Big J self by being pretty heavily inebriated at the hotel bar that we're competing at. It just finished competing. So I was celebrating.
Yeah, you're celebrating.
I have a drink in my hand and I'm probably 6 or 7 in. And this beautiful lady walks in, and I've known her forever, watched her on every magazine cover in the world for years. And I'm thinking, well, hey, that's Monica Brant. Hey, Monica! Hey! Monica! And, of course, you gave me that look, whatever look it was, I still remember. Professional, but hey, will you please shut up? Leave me alone, stranger. And, I don't know.
I would never have said that.
You didn't say that, but the eye.
Oh, no, that was your
the entourage. That was my beer goggles. The entourage behind you, you were going to do a photo shoot.
Okay.
And so, you were kind of rushed. I said, can we have a drink? Come on, let's celebrate. Monica, come on. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, no, I can't. And so I said, have a drink with me. And that was it. Last night, not last night, but a couple nights ago, Andre said, hey, we're going to have so-and-so and so-and-so at the booth with us here to Houston American Fit Expo, and Monica. And I said, Monica who? He said, Monica Brant. I said, Monica freaking Brant. I didn't use the freak word either. He said, yeah, do you know her? I said, do I know her? She owes me a drink. I didn't say it. But then I told him the story. Yeah, I told him the story. He goes, oh, God, don't tell her that. I said, no, I got to tell her. And so it was, I told you the story, and we had that drink last night.
We had the drink last night.
And we had church last night.
We did.
Had very in-depth conversations. We shared our soul with each other. I feel like we're soul brother and sister.
We did. Yeah, I found you resting for a moment before you walked out because your back was hurting. And I was heading back to the hotel, and I sat by you to see if I could be supportive. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go have that drink.
That opportunity presented itself.
Yeah, we did.
And we had
It
our
was
drinks,
fun.
and they were delicious. And we had a great conversation.
Yeah.
We did an interview with Andre.
Audrey showed up, the crew showed up, and it was
We sat around for 30 minutes and just had the best time.
and you asked me a big question. You probably didn't realize how personal
It was a
gonna
professional
be.
question,
It was
but I didn't
professional.
know it was going to hit you where it did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you shared that
And
with
I got
me.
to share some really cool
Yeah.
stuff with you that was nice to get off my chest a little bit too.
Yes, with a
I don't know,
friend.
you never know. People,
And I call that church.
Never know.
It doesn't have to be the Bible.
it
It's
was
blood.
it was
family
communication
communication, which not many
Listening.
people have. Yeah,
and sharing with no phone.
yeah. We didn't
Except
blow
when
our
I had to
phone.
show you one or two things. Remember, I showed you one or two things.
Right. We
And
were
it was like,
messaging.
say, check this out.
Yeah,
right?
we were messaging some pretty famous people last night.
That too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's
What a
fun.
wonderful time.
It's
This
been
has
awesome.
a great experience. I am truly honored that I get to be on the same team as you finally after all these years of knowing each other. And I'm even more honored to be on your podcast. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Such an honor.
All right. Where can people find you?
Big J_Extreme Fitness on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel that I haven't posted in years, but there's a couple 100,000 views and people on there. You can find me working out.
Oh, you're crazy.
The drinking video
The drinking videos.
with Rich Piana.
Yes.
I've done videos with the Hodge twins, C.G. Fletcher, Rich Piana, Jackie Chan. I work with the Matrix and the John Wick crew. I shoot at Terran Tacticals. I was in a couple of TV shows and movies, and you can find me. Just look up Big J or Jason English. Anywhere, I'll pop up.
Tracy, remember because we were talking about the the English leather calendar girl thing, and you were like,
That's right. That's my
I was
cologne. Old English.
we have all kinds of things now together, me and you. All
Best
right.
friends for
We are
life.
best friends. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining the Monica Brant Show here, and hope you've enjoyed all the conversations.
I've
It's been
certainly enjoyed
awesome.
it.
I have too, so thank
And
you so much.
I speak from my heart when I talk to
Yes,
people.
you do.
And I hope you guys realize that. There's a little cussing, there's a little drinking, and there's a lot of loving. And I love you guys. Be sure to be thankful. Turn that stuff off. Get right with yourself. Follow this girl, the amazing Monica Brant.
Awesome. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining. And thank you to Frontline Alternative and Stemregen for getting me here with the Monica Brant Show here to Houston, Texas, and the America Fit Expo.
Bam.
Bam.